guys, welcome to Five Friday. Today we're talking about stitch markers. The 5 things you should know, or 5 tips about stitch markers that you should know. Okay, so today we got this idea from our friend Lucia. Yay!
Lucia, we love you.
Lucia made a really great suggestion, and now we're going to take her up on it. So thank you, Lucia. This was awesome. So, number 1. Where's the thing? This is the light bulb stitch, or stitch markers. These are the famous, like,
some called pear,
whatevs. Anyway, so the first tip on this is that you can use these as a way to distinguish between the wrong side and the right side of your work. But these will pull through the knitting. So the first thing you should do is when you put it in your knitting on the right side, you put a little dangly bit like that, like another stitch marker, so that it doesn't pull through the knitting and then you're not like, wait, which side was it on?
Exactly.
So that's tip number 1, is to figure out or to mark your right side of your work. There you go. Number 1.
Tip number 2. Progress keepers are fun. Which one do we want to use? Are you going to use your sugary ones?
Yeah, these are fun.
These are totally fun. Real cute. Little Cinnabons. Who made these?
Shoot, I will
Cinnamon bun.
I will put her there, but I forget. And she's actually,
Darling.
this is like a little sprinkled donut.
Hee.
And then I have another one that's like the Harry Potter one.
Cute.
But
so
yes.
Terry feels like they pull on your knitting too much.
Sometimes, like, what I mean by that is that they pull on the knitting and it pulls out the stitches because they're heavy.
Right, they can be heavy.
They can be heavy. And the reason why you would use a progress keeper is, like, let's say you were wanting to know how much you've accomplished that day. You would put it at the beginning of your stitches.
You need to go 4 inches.
And you need to go 4 inches.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And then you can just measure from there. Or if you're like, well, how much knitting did I get done today?
Because you're super anal and need to know.
That might not be me.
That's not me. That's not me that people will go, well, how long does it take you to knit a blah, blah, blah? I don't know. I don't care.
Right?
Okay, continue.
Okay.
Number 3 is you.
Oh, okay. You would use little itty bitty ones to separate your repeats.
Yes.
So what we mean by that, like something, there you go. Tiny ones on your stitch, on your needles. And what it is let's say you're doing lace or cable work or something, you have to do 10 repeats. If you have stitch markers to separate the repeats, then you'll know, oh, wait a second, I have too many stitches here. What did I do?
To help see if something's off or not.
Right. And
quicker.
Then it's quicker, and then also you can go, okay, so I have 10 repeats, I'm done.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a really helpful thing. So I highly recommend when you have a repeat, like in lace knitting or cable knitting or something like that, to use stitch markers in between. Nice.
Number 4.
Number 4. Marking your increases. Let's say you're making a sweater and you're doing the sleeves or even the body, and it says every inch increase and do this 5 times. So what you would do is every time you make an increase, you put the stitch marker in it, that increase, and so that when you're coming to it, you'll be like, okay, how many times have I increased? Did I do it 5 times? I'm not sure. So you don't have to go and look for the increases. You have already marked it, and you could say, oh, yes, I did. And this is my last time I need to increase. So let me show you an example of that. Okay, so here's an example. I'm making this sleeve. I don't know if you guys could see that. So I marked it every time I did an increase so that I know that I did whatever 12 every inch or so. So that I know that I did those increases.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Nice.
That was tip number 4.
Okay, tip number 5. When I'm doing lace, I like to use a hanging stitch marker. And I don't mind if it's weighty, not super weighty. This is pretty perfect. I like some length on there because when you're doing yarn overs, and that's usually what you're doing with lace, you can easily unknowingly move your stitch marker. But if they're a little bit weighty and a little bit longer, that won't happen as much. It's harder for it to happen because of the length of the stitch marker.
Hmm.
Trust me, I know. Okay. That's number 5.
And that's number 5.
So there's a couple things that we want to say about stitch markers past our 5 Friday.
It's a bonus.
Bonus. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding.
Colors are great. Getting a color pack is not just for fun. Like, you can use your colors for reasons, right? Like when you're doing, especially if you're doing circular knitting, the orange one is the one that you're beginning around. And all the other ones are the same color. Or your increase section is in a different color. So colors are not just for fun, but they're useful. Okay?
I just use them for fun.
Right. And these, for me, not my favorite. For the reason of snagging.
Oh.
It's basically a safety pin.
Right.
Okay. I like the thinness. I love thin stitch markers. Okay. Because when they're thinner, right, you will not make your stitches bigger trying to get around it. So thin is great. I love, some of the Coco knits. Her stuff's very thin.
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
What? The triangle bits?
Yeah, you want to talk about your triangle bits.
My triangle bits. So these are the little ones. These aren't the Coco Knits ones. I think these are the Clover ones that you can get like at Michael's or Joann's. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I like these is because they're easy when you're knitting and you're going down the row. Your needle can pick up pretty easily that little
notch in there.
That little notch. So your needle goes in there really easily, and so you come to it and you're just like fling, and you can keep going. Fling. Mm-hmm. Basically, you don't want to fling your knitting, but you know what I mean. So that's why I like the triangle ones.
One other thing, bonus for drop stitches. These are called. All right, you guys.
All right, you guys. Thank you, Lucia, for your ideas.
Lucia.
If you guys have any ideas, please put any suggestions down below for
Definitely.
5 Friday ideas. We're not running out, but we will eventually.
If you guys have anything you want to see on here or talk about 5 Friday, totally, right?
Yes, totally. Any 5 Friday or anything else.
Any ideas? You got questions? Yeah. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
We need to
FaceTime. No, not really FaceTime.
No, like
interact.